Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and today we are going to be talking about a brand new anime. If you've been here for a while, you know that we're going through we're going to go through anime a couple of episodes at a time, and today is the start of a brand new one for us. It's called Gatchaman Crowds, and we're going to be discussing the first four episodes, the very first one, two, three, and four episodes of Gatchaman Crowds. And me and Matt, we watched it. I would like to bring in Matt Galley, my co-host here. We watched Gatchaman Crowds, and we're going to be discussing it. And if you would like to discuss and talk with us, we are live on Twitch every Thursday. If you want to come and join the conversation, or I don't know, just find us on social media. Matt and Jules right down there over there. But Matt, this is our first episode of watching Gatchaman Crowds, and this is the first time that you're watching a show for the first time along with me. How did it feel? Did it feel different?
It did feel different with just kind of like how I was trying to watch the show, things I was looking out for. It's definitely a lot different knowing that I'm going to be talking about it, giving this show a first time viewing than a show that I've seen before and rewatching
Mm-hmm.
it.
So this was suggested by CZD, and if you would like to get your suggestions put into the bucket, the little treasure chest of Matt's, and if you would like to, for us to possibly pick your anime next, 500 bits live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jules the Human. If you're watching on Spotify or listening on Apple Podcasts, you can watch live and donate some bits, and that goes to both of us. And you can be like, I want you to watch this anime next, or suggest one of your favorites or something that you think we'll love or hate or whatever, and we may pick it out. But for the next 3 weeks or so, we're going to be discussing Gatchaman Crowds, and let's get started because I think there's a lot to get into here with the first four episodes, and since it's our first episode talking about the show in general, episode one, Avant-Garde. Let's get into it, Matt. What sort of went down on episode one?
So yeah, wild ride. The show
Yeah.
just kind of tosses you in the term in media res
Yeah.
almost, where we're kind of just seeing these two different characters go about their day. We eventually learn their names as Sugane and Hajime, and Sugane is just going around, and he pulls out this little notebook that a bunch of words start getting written into, and he kind of starts hunting down this creature that's out in the world or something like that. It kind of, again, it all happens really fast. It's
Mhm.
throwing all of these events at you one after the other. Before you know it, they're Hajime and Sugane are both right there with each other, and she sees him transform, and she's screaming, "Oh, gotcha man, gotcha man!" So we only assume that that's a Gatchaman, that's Mr. Sugane after he transforms there, and he starts tracking down this weird looking creature. Like I said, the show, I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of a time uh, reversal where it shows us a flashback of Hajime getting a similar book to the one Sugane has. There's Yeah, she's obsessed with all of these different planners and stuff, and she goes up to the roof of her school obsessing about planners, and this force shows up and kind of just pulls this thing out of her, and it gets bestowed upon her, and he kind of dubs her a Gatchaman. Again, this is all happening really fast, and it's not giving you a lot of context, a lot of explanation in the meantime. But basically, by the end of the episode, Hajime and Sugane, he's kind of showing her the ropes of being a Gatchaman, showing her their little headquarters and stuff. She meets a bunch of different Gatchamen that she's going to be working with, her associates, and he takes her out on her first mission or whatever, and then we get to see her transformation as well. And then the show kind of leaves us off with that for the first episode. It's kind of like a wild, like just wild culmination of events that
Yeah.
sequence into this first episode.
Um, but before we get into like what actually happened, man, Goldberg, go, yeah, 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 yeah. Before we get into what actually happened, because we forgot about it for Black Clover, can we talk about the opening intro song?
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh
the whole
it
thing.
was it was it was really cool. I really liked the I'm not a person that's good at describing music with words,
Sure.
but I really liked the guitar in the song in the opening. I love when like there's the kind of like the soft core opening, and then like there's like a little break, and then like somebody just starts shredding on a guitar or something like that. Like that little momentary break where I'm like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen? And then it's just like jamming. I love that.
I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I don't love it. Maybe I will by the end because I'm pretty sure they're gonna have the same song. I don't think the song matches what's going on.
Oh
I
yeah.
have a I have a yeah, I have a weird thing where I'm like, I need like, especially with like music videos, I like for what they're showing on the screen to match with the song. Song by itself, good song. But
Yes.
song with the action that it's showing and all the different characters that it's showing, people that I don't know yet and people that I do know, I'm like, hmm, okay, it just doesn't it's not the best. It's good. It's not the best that it probably could have been. But
I agree with that, considering the fact that I can't even remember most of the sequences that happen in the op. I'm
yeah,
like trying to remember right now, and I'm just like, I remember
yeah.
the song mostly.
So this first episode, we get into all the stuff. Man, so my first note was Gatchaman looks so cool, and I love the notebooks, but I prefer anime like this because I've seen a lot of like random 12 episode shots where it's just here's a group of people, here's what they can do, here's the setup, maybe something changes, maybe there's a twist or whatever. And I love how quickly I attached to these characters. Like I already knew who they were. Like Hajime was super positive, loves planners, cute, she has some wild dialogue. And Sugane, he's the good guy, the kid, well, he seems like an adult but he's a kid, that's just taking life really seriously because he's way different than Hajime. He's like taking it so where he's like, I have to save the world. Don't you understand? And he nobody understands him the way he thinks. Nobody gets it. You're not taking it serious enough.
We get introduced to Paimon, who's like their leader of
Panda.
sorts, Panda, and there's a short. He makes a. I think it's in the first episode where Sugane makes a passing comment at Hajime, and Paimon like looks at Sugane and is like said something along the lines of like, "Wow, look how much you've grown."
Yeah. I'm curious what happened to for him to grow that way.
Hmm.
I'm curious if they'll ever like dive into like his stuff because throughout these four episodes, we didn't see a whole lot of Sugane's like backstory or anything. I'm pretty sure it's
I don't
coming,
think it's anything.
but
Yeah,
we
we
haven't
don't get
seen
any of it.
anything. Um, but Smudge said very polite, very positive is the most polite way I describe Hajime. I really like her. I would say she's my favorite character right now because it's silly. Um, she's kind of out there and she's really nice. I think she's really nice. We'll find out later some more of the stuff that she does, but like I was like, oh, she's nice. She's a good character, and I really liked her. I really enjoyed her. Um, but I think Hajime is really good. Uh,
I agree with you in the way that how you were saying that like it doesn't take long for us to get what these characters are about, and I think that the show does a good job at characterizing them like almost at a glance.
Yeah, I was yeah, that was the thread I was gonna go on. I watch a lot of shows and I prefer shows that are 12 episode runs because it does like some intense stuff and you can get right to the point with the way they do it. With something like a Black Clover, they're showing you a lot over many, many episodes. But for this, it's almost like leaning into the tropes, and that could be a bad thing or it could be a good thing. The good thing is when you lean into tropes is that you instantly know who they are, and that's what I liked about this, where it's like you kind of leaned into uh the stalwart leader guy that doesn't really look to is really focused, and Hajime even explains it because he's a sword later on. Like she does, you don't look anything, whatever. And all these other characters, OD, um, who's sad, he can't transform. I learned that from him, from them. Altair or Alchan with the little cute black cat, Utsutsu, which is the girl in the swimsuit. If you've seen, if you don't know what we're talking about, Jusan is just a cool guy, and I'm like, bro, I'm here. I'm
Hmm.
cool. Like we know like barely anything about them, and I'm like, I know them a lot already. I don't know. That's the way I felt after episode one.
You're not giving me a lot, but there but it's enough to where I can be interested in what you're, like, playing with here, for sure.
Um, yeah, and so they're fighting this like mess character. What did you think about the animation so far in episode one? Did it grab you? I want to talk about this because like I want to know if like this is something that you would continue if we weren't doing a podcast about it. Like episode one, you're like, what's Gatchaman crowds? You turn it on and you're like, huh, would you have continued this?
I I don't know, honestly.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if I would have continued this from where it left us off at episode 1. I don't know if I would have made it through episode 1, to be completely honest.
Oh, okay.
And that's not like to say that the
No.
show is bad in any way. It is that's like a personal thing where again, it's like one of those things as all of those like quick sequence of events things were happening. I don't know how many times I was pressing like rewind 10 seconds on my little Roku remote, like flashback. I kept having to like, did I just miss something? Did I just miss something? Like, and that was
Okay.
getting very
Too
frustrating for me.
fast.
Almost too fast.
Well, then
Where
I
like
would
I
say,
just want the flow of information to better match like what my brain can follow.
okay.
Um
I would say
just
then
go
I don't know if you would like Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
ahead.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners runs like that, and that's what I like because Cyberpunk Edge Runners is a 12 episode thing, kind of like this one. Akudama Drive that I've watched before, that's running on the same wavelength. I think it's just because it's the 12 episode thing. Like what during these first four episodes, we go so far
Yeah.
because we're a third of the way through the show already, and they're kind of like, okay, get this out of the way. These are these people. This is Gatchaman. This is the notebooks. These are myths. Whatever, whatever. I totally feel that. I totally understand that. But I like that. I like
Mhm.
when it's just like Mr. Krabs. Like, what's going on?
I I definitely am glad that we're doing it for the show so that way I can continue to watch the episodes because I will say by the end of like this batch of episodes my opinion did like kind of my like it was all over the place like the where
Oh,
how I was feeling. I was like, well, like I'm iffy about that. I'm kind of cool about that, but then like there's somewhere in there it all started to kind of connect and I was like, okay, I think I'm liking this. I do think that, like, I'm liking this. I just think it's different, and it's taking me some time to get used to what it's throwing at me.
it's kind of like you turned it on and the train is already going and you have to grab it.
Yeah,
You get to jump onto the moving train, sort of.
exactly.
Like you said, it just kind of started in media res, like when all the gotcha men are just kind of hunting down this person at the very beginning. You're like, what's
They're
going
like
on?
people are writing things in books,
Yeah.
and other people are, like, reading things out of other books, and I'm like, "W are they PDAing each other?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is going
Are
on
they
here?"
one thought I had was like, are they working together or are they working
Yeah,
against each other?
yeah.
Like,
But,
are they
like
trying to be the first person to kill this person, like as an assassin thing or whatever? Yeah.
But there is a certain point where, like I said, how I kept hitting that little thing on my Roku remote, there was a certain point where I stopped hitting that button and I just let it do its thing in front of me. And even when I was like writing my notes, I was staring at the TV while like writing down in my notebook.
Sure.
Um, because I was like, I'm just gonna run it through. Like I'm just gonna let it do its thing. This is what the show's creator wants, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's get into episode two, asymmetry. Going forward after Hajime turns into a her Gatchaman form, and then it goes into episode two. So what happens in episode two?
Episode 2 threw me for a loop. we like you said, we see Hajime transform, and it's to join.
Oh, I
It's
like
to
this episode.
join Sugane, who's already battling one of these. They call it a mess. Like those are the enemies. It's the mess. We're after the mess, and a mess could be anything. So they find this bus, and the bus is the mess. And Sugane is about to like do a coup de grace on this thing because Hajime had it like pinned down, and she basically like pulls a move where she lets it escape, and he's like, "Dude, what the heck?" Um, they go and they like the thing gets out of there. Mission's over. He's really pissed
Mission
off.
failed.
Yeah, mission
Yep.
failed for all intents and purposes. He's really pissed off. Sugane's pissed off with Hajime. Why did you let the mess get away? Yada yada yada. And she keeps bringing up these like quirky little comments. She's like, "Well, I don't even know who it is. I don't even know what that thing is." Like all comments like that. Um, she gets taken to like her new residence, I guess, her new like Gatchaman uh apartment housing. Like they all stay with each other, and so we get to see like their little apartment and stuff. We get to see Paimon's room, who in the previous episode claimed they hated pandas, but the room is full of little panda stuffies. um we see a little bit more of Hajime, because she's using this little social media app, and she plans this like event with a group of people she interacts with. And then we get to see that Sugane apparently just doesn't interact with people outside of the Gotchamen. um that little bit takes place, and then we see Hajime on another mission with Sugane. Instead of attempting to attack a mess, she like she tries to interact with it, I guess you could say. She tries to like communicate with it, and it goes from being this huge like whirling tendril of like uh biblically accurate angel type beat, and then it just turns into this cute little like Rubik's cube. And it stops acting with like hostile intent. uh and then we see this one figure like take on the form of other people. They can like kiss somebody else and like assume their appearance, and they do that and kind of make a bunch of people like fall down a flight of stairs. And that app that Hajime was using can apparently be used for like medical purposes too, and a bunch of people like get called over to help these people at the stairs. By the end of the episode, we see the owner of the app kind of like interacting with their supercomputer that's explaining all of the metrics behind the app for the day, yada yada yada, and then that's where episode 2 leaves us.
So episode 2 is when it got like super juicy for
Yeah.
me because it could have been some super Sentai man,
Hmm.
whatever. We're the Gotchaman and we're gonna save the world, and we're because it's like set it up sort of like where it's the five like Power Rangers or something
Hmm.
like that. Uh, some of the other like groups where they form together. It's like five teenagers save the world and they change and all this stuff. And then this is where it like got super interesting, man. Um, because right off the bat, you see newbie Hajime.
My name is Hajime.
Yeah, my name is Hajime. Like immediately, like see something else and start asking questions. And it makes sense that all the other types, like all the other personality types that are at Gotchaman already, wouldn't ask questions and why she would. Like she seems the most open to anything out of all the other ones. Like all the other people are just kind of like just living life, doing their thing. But she's like actually like living day by day. I think that's how you explain Hajime's like personality type. Like she's trying to help and enjoy life now today, trying to make each day the best. And we see that because yeah, like I love Sugane's and Hajime together. completely contradicting each other and completely contrasting each other, especially with this whole like going to a collage meetup and then there's the mayor there. The mayor showed up to the collage meetup, from some pretty important people showed up to the collage meetup, and these powerful people are taking their time to do these little things that probably to Sugane don't matter at
Hmm.
all.
And
And
like
it's like,
he says, like, well, why didn't you tell me all these super important people are going to be here? And she's
yeah,
like, well, they're just people.
yeah.
Like, I
Uh
told you people were going to be here, and that's
yeah.
who's here.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. Like the way she thinks, like I don't even know how to explain it. Like the way she thinks is just like they're just people, so they matter, but it doesn't matter what they do, but they're good people. And I'm like, but I totally relate to Sugane immediately because like I
Hmm.
totally understand like because I feel like that's kind of how I would be or how I am, where I need somebody else to kind of do that to me, kind of put me in those weird situations because I'm not going to put myself there. And I I don't know. It is really cool. It was really cool, especially on the train that I did not expect them to go to right out the gate on episode 2.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wrapping back around to what you were saying while we were discussing episode 1, I think it's in this episode where like she like mentions on their transformations like, "Oh, because they explain that the note, that's what the little book is called. The note is a manifestation of somebody's soul, and that's what your transformation is." And then she was like, "Oh, so that's why we all have different like armors and different like weapons and stuff. Sugane has a sword because like he's straightforward and to the point." And
yeah.
then she says, "I wonder why I have scissors." And like all of these things start bottling up in my head where it's like,
Mhm.
this is why you have scissors. Like these are
Yeah.
the reasons. I know. You should know too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like like it's kind of on the nose about it to a certain degree, but then like I like how they kind of take the rest of the episode to kind of flesh that out for sure.
And what also is fleshed out and explained a whole lot is this app on their phone, Galax. The Galax app, which is when it got super crazy for me because I'm like, yo, this is like Black Mirror-esque.
Yeah.
This social media app is better than like a direct line. They even said when people were falling, um, when people were fell down the stairs, apparently with the Galax app where you can ping people around you if you need something or if you need to get a hold of people, and it's like, hey, we need help, and it's like, oh, people with medical experience are in your area. And I was like, first off, I was like, yo, that's pretty dope, like that's pretty cool. And I'm like, yo, that's a really good idea. That's kind of what like Twitter and like having location on your phone. And so I think this is the start of like this whole commentary about like
Yep.
Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. I think we'll get into it later on in episode 3, but like this was the start. Like having it say, first off, I thought this was really cool, especially because of my like gotcha addiction right now, where it if you help somebody out, they're like what does it say? World has
World has been
been
updated.
world has been updated and you get points. And
Points.
I'm like, bro, I would go outside. I would go outside and help
Just to
people.
walk around and help people.
I would mow the lawn. Somebody needs it to get like little social points. Hell yeah.
I love that I think it's one of the first things we see in the first episode is somebody using the little Galax app or like the little people in the app like saying things to each other. I think that's one of the first things we see in the first episode. I could be
True.
wrong. And it like initially, whatever, like onto the show, like that's not really thinking about it too much, but it's like across the first episode and into the second episode, by the end of the second episode, like you said, you can see that they're kind of setting up this whole like yeah commentary thing with the app and stuff and how much power should be given to something like that, et cetera, et cetera. But like you say, it's like at first initially you're seeing things said that like the response times for people that need help and stuff are like quicker. um it's just right there at the, I need help, I need a medical expert, I need a lawyer, I need whatever, and it
Mm.
just pings out people for the appropriate experience.
And like you said, there's somebody keeping tabs on Galax and taking a look at all the stuff. And it turns out they're a Gatchaman apparently, because they end they end the episode when they have a notebook. So what goes on into episode 3, Futurism, um, that kind of takes from there.
Into episode 3, we see like Hajime's friend, she calls it Mess-chan because it's named after the mess.
Yeah.
This little Rubik's cube. Everybody's kind of like trying to figure out like why is there a mess, like what happened, what's going on. And so that happens for a while. Uh we see we see the app's owner kind of talking to the supercomputer and stuff. And a couple quotes that stood out to me like in this interaction was it's not heroes who will update the world, it's us. I think Rui said that. And
Yeah.
then the computer at one point says that the more powerful the enemy, the more enjoyable the game. Because the supercomputer's talking about how their numbers are growing and stuff, and Rui's like, well, that means the people that despise us are growing too, and that's kind of the response. Wild, wild, wild. So somehow the supercomputer gets leaked information that a bad batch of milk that was sitting out in
Oh,
improper temperature
yeah.
for too long got sent out, and a recall needed to be performed, but it had already been shipped and stuff, and if they performed a recall, it wouldn't things wouldn't get back in time. So we have to use Galax to inform the people of what's happened. And this whole my, for this whole sequence of events, I just wrote my notes milk crisis,
Yeah.
because the milk crisis happens, and we can talk about it in a second. But by the after the milk crisis is resolved, this immediately life-threatening crisis gets presented, where a bunch of people in like a skyloft thing, the it's about to come down, and so 11 people are in danger. And so Rui says that there's no possible way that the Galax will be able to handle it by itself. We need to use the crowds. And all of these like little like electric looking boys like start spawning in all over the place with
Big
these
old
like
heads.
singular huge eye that's like got one eyeball or like a screen on it. And that's where episode 3 leaves us.
Bro, this was wild, and I loved every
How
second
was
of
that
it.
one episode?
So yeah, exactly. So much happened. They don't waste any time, which I love. Black Clover. Um, but Galax is taking over. We find out the person's name that's taking over. His name is Rui. This is the person that's they have wigs often, and they slay in
I
some
love their
different
wigs.
outfits. This is them without the wig there. But man, the milk crisis. Um, what
Just
a
real milk
wild part.
crisis.
Yeah, no. It was so cool to see, and it was a great way to showcase to us how much power Galax already has.
Yeah, even if
Um
it's something that's not like life threatening immediately, it was one of like I did like think about it for a while. I was like, dude, I don't want to be drinking some milk that's been sitting out for that long and be throwing up for God knows how long. Like
yeah,
that's
and
a
it
pretty big deal.
the way that they made it seem what felt life threatening. Like, okay, so from the time that
Hajime made it feel life threatening.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, everybody that's on Galax, it feels like a big deal, which is like commentary on like Twitter. Like if you're on
Hmm.
Twitter, things are like, "Oh my god, this happened on Twitter." And to people that are in the know are like, "Oh my god," but people that are outside of it, they're like whatever. So we saw the juxtaposition of Sugane. He's like, "I'm not on Galax, whatever." He's like, "Why does this matter?"
And some of the
And then
teachers too, where some of the
yeah,
teachers are like, well, it's pretty credible, like, it saved a lot of lives before. But then there's
save
another
people.
guy that's like, well, you don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Yeah.
We
And
should
then
talk to the principal about it.
Sure. And Hajime kind of just explains to Sugane that like these mess aren't the enemy we thought they were, but you're still a hero. So this is a time to be a hero. You're a Gatchaman. And
You're
I was
supposed to
like,
protect everybody.
oh shit. Like she kind of got him. I was like, okay, cool. Because she kind of told him, like, bro, you weren't asking questions before and this turned out to not be what they were. Like all the people got returned. We'd even talk about that. All the people that got
That's
returned
right.
or that got abducted by the mess got returned. They just did miss time in their brain, but like the mess, for all we know, are good. The only person that we've seen do bad is this person, where we figure out their name is
Yeah.
Bird Cats in the next episode. But that's the only bad thing that we've seen happen, and the mess seem okay. But
And
yeah,
somebody
so
even comments that the mess may, I think it was is his name Joe, the cool guy? What was the cool guy's name?
Joe San. Joe San.
He mentions that they might be acting on some sort of, the mess might work on a hive mind of some
Mhm.
sort. So now that like Hajime is made friends with it, like all across the board, it's just gonna kind of like settle down.
Yeah. Um, but Sugane is a hero. He goes and distracts the some of the teachers. Hajime.
Dude, the little bit with him swinging the mop, I screamed. That was some of the most hilarious looking animation that I've ever seen, and
The
I don't know why.
it wasn't well, it followed up with the part where I screamed, where she's on the floor and her little hands are going like that
Bro,
when she's crawling.
they were being so funny. Oh my
So
god.
so at one frame he was like, "Huh, huh, huh," whatever, and I was like, "Okay." And the part where I screamed was where she tries to like be super sneaky, fucking Scooby Doo with the toes, but she had like her fingies out, like crawling, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so stupid. That's so silly." Um, but then apparently some other adults helped her. But like the whole thing was to demonstrate how much pull Galax has and how Rui isn't happy with the good numbers that they had. They had, what was it, like 87.5% people that used Galax, which is 0.5% up from the other day. But then it's like this huge percentage of people acted on the milk crisis.
Yep.
And then she was like, it's not enough. Or they were like, it's not enough. And the interface was like, well, actually, some people just didn't have the option to,
Yeah,
and they just
they
couldn't.
took the information, but they could not act on it.
And Rui was still like, "Hmm,
Yeah.
could be better."
What
But
happens when
what?
you get into analytics, right?
Yeah, it could always be better. You need a 5% increase in your business year over year or whatever. So, but
Exactly.
yeah, like the uh, Galaxy is really cool. I don't know. I would if you were a kid and you were there and you solved the milk crisis, and then on your phone, on your little alert machine, it was like, "Congrats, the world has been updated." Bro, feed that into my veins. Would you be swayed to do that? Bro,
No, yeah,
I
I think I would. I mean, look at look, the closest we've ever gotten to world peace was
I
Pokemon
know
Go.
what you're
Yeah.
Pokemon Go,
Everybody
sorry, I
knew what
said
I was
yeah.
gonna say because, like, that's it's it's just an extension of that. Like, you give like, when, Hajime was explaining Galax at a glance to Sugane. She was like, "There's pubs, there's taverns, there's all of these different things that you can do on this thing. Like it's not just the little pinging other people for help. This is a whole like a I don't even know, Club Penguin taken to the 10th degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
But yeah, like, I would love that. I would love it. Um, I was gonna make some other connection to it, but yeah, y'all are changing my mind about this anime. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I really liked that it wasn't just boom, pow, fight. Like that was the first episode to get you in. Like
yeah.
obviously the first episode.
And it was just to pull
Usually,
the rug out from you.
yeah,
And
for
you're like,
sure.
psych.
We haven't seen we only saw them fight in the first episode.
Mm,
We only saw him do one move, Sugane do one move, and that was it. Um, but now it's like, oh, it's something completely different, and that's kind of like what they did, like you said, Matt, was just show you this thing, but to get into other stuff, and that's kind of why I like uh Madoka Magica, because it does the same thing, and other like shows that are random 12 episode things where it's like here's a premise, but then we're gonna go deep, and it's like, whoa, like, okay, this is wild, like this is so much different, and I feel like this is gonna be so much deeper as we go on. But 100 galaxies have power. uh
yeah, I forgot about that.
what do you think that means? Because the crowds are the big boys, lightning boys with the big eye, big face, whatever. But what do you think? Because you've only seen it up
Yeah,
until
yeah, yeah.
this. What do you think the 100 galaxies with the power? Do they have the power to see the mess and see the crowds? Is that the power that she's talking about? Because one of them saved the people in the next episode, I think.
The
She
I'm
said like number 58 is there.
That's right.
So the number 58 was the one that went up in the next episode to save the people in the car.
Maybe it means that they could see the crowds. I'm thinking of one shot that happens in the next episode, and it makes me think that it's that they can see the crowds. Could be wrong, but
Okay.
given how things happened in the next episode, that's what it makes me think. But I completely forgot about that line again as things continue to be thrown at me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was one of the lines that I did
That
forget to write down. Yeah.
uh Rui bestowed 100 galaxies, possibly the top 100
Yeah, I was gonna
galaxies
say maybe it's the
with
people
some
with
kind
like
of.
the top 100 scores and Galax or something like that.
Oh,
So then that would mean that probably people that work in positions where they're frequently helping people would probably be the ones that had
oh,
like firefighters and rescue people. P- what was they were
yeah,
rescue operations specialists, and like stuff like that.
because
Doctors and lawyers.
the people that'll update the world is us. So maybe that's what she means. The people that or they handpick. But yeah. Oh, the one thing that I was gonna pick. Okay, before we go to episode 4, the one thing I was gonna say was um about Galax. I was like, I got super into Reddit, and I got my Reddit.
Your karma is
Yeah,
like
I
a
got my
karma score.
bro. I got my Reddit year in review today, and I'll post it in the Discord later. But
You
because
updated
they're
the
doing.
world.
Yeah, I'm changing the world with my Apex posts, my Apex shit post. But I was like, bro, I'm a slut for karma. I'll be like, I'll do whatever for karma, and it's pretty much the same thing. So I totally
I didn't
understand.
even think
I'm
about
the
Reddit.
perfect match for Galax. I'll sign up. But episode 4, Kitsch. Where do we go here in this final episode that we saw? Again, we're talking about the anime Gatchaman crowds. Um, we watched the first 4 episodes. We're going to be going on about this show until the end. So we're going to do 2 more episodes after this, next Thursday and the Thursday after this one, maybe depending on Christmas or whatever. But like, we're going to finish this anime. If you would like to get an anime that for us to talk about an anime, go ahead and give us 500 bits, and you can add it to the anime pool, and we could possibly pull it out and watch your favorite anime next. But Kids episode 4, what happened?
I feel like from the first episode, pedal was to the metal for sure. And I feel like right here, I don't feel like brakes are touched, but I feel like the gas is just let up on and we're not
Sure.
accelerating so fast. Because I feel like the episode takes this episode allows you to kind of uh all of the previous episodes kind of like fall and play into this episode to kind of maybe set up the rest of the series that we're going to get to see. Um, that's how I feel about it. So, episode 4, you did say that Rui had one of the they're working on like a tablet in episode 3. I wasn't sure if it was a note. Episode 4, definitely Rui has a note. She's got one of those little Gatchaman notes. The rescue operations happen on that little thing that I was talking about, the skybox, and it goes off without a hitch thanks to the help of the crowds and the Galaxers. Um, that's all good and well, but we also find out that Berg, the purple-haired person that's been causing mischief, they also have a note. And everyone everyone kind of laments because Berg went on a just kind of went around stabbing people, like really,
Yeah,
just really out of pocket. And
kind of.
because of the like intensity, the severity of what's happened with that, while Rui was paying attention to the other situation, a bunch of people like died, and she kind of laments over that. Joe is the one that encounters Berg, and he has no effect on Berg with his attacks in his Gotchaman mode. He's kind of just thrown aside. Joe tells that to everybody else, and everybody kind of gets a little panicky. Um, and OD and Paimon specifically kind of get very clammy and submissive of everybody else's comments. Um, we see that the app Galax is probably due to some sort of a pact that Rui made with Berg, the alien. This app is the product of, or maybe it's the supercomputer. Something happened because of a pact they made. And Berg kind of taunts Rui and goes out into the world again and taking up the form of somebody else. Now jumping into a car, just kind of careens down a road and performs a hit and run on like 18 or so different people. And again, intensity, severity, Rui wants to help, but like you can't help at that point when things are taken that far that fast. And so like she's kind of having a meltdown because she's on the scene where things are going on, and the episode leaves us off with Joe setting out to take his to to try to fight Berg again, even though he was rendered useless the time before.
Yeah, so Joe has some vindication because they think that he can do it.
Yeah.
But we find out quite a bit about the characters we already know. We've been introduced to these characters these past 3 episodes, and now we get to know quite a bit more. Like you said, it was like a little bit a let off of the gas, but it was in good nature because we learn they're finally giving us some information. So Berg Katz is the red-haired character. Apparently, they're a demon that destroys planets but lets the inhabitants do it again. So Paimon and OD have dealt with this person before. There was some allusion to OD being not a human, and Utsutsu having a special cloning power. We
That's
don't
right.
know.
Forgot about that.
We don't know where the original is, or Utsutsu is, where she is, where because she's always like, "I'm gloomy. I feel gloomy," but it's like
That's her line.
that's just her clone on autopilot. When they have
Gotcha.
nothing else to say, it's just like they don't know how to respond. They just say, "I'm gloomy," but because Itsutsu isn't there, like where is she? And what is OD? What is so apparently OD and Itsutsu can't turn into Gatchaman forms. They they can't turn into Gatchaman forms because I think they're different life forms. They're not human, I think. But so far, OD from the very first episode, OD has said that they're sad and they can't transform. And now it makes sense because it seems like the way that they were talking to Paimon, like they might be from another planet because
Mhm.
they've come up to Berg before. Was that what you got
Yeah,
from it?
yeah, that's what OD makes a comment, something along the lines of, "This wouldn't be happening if I was able to destroy him the first time."
What do you mean the first?
Yeah,
We didn't
exact
see the
exact yeah,
first
yep.
time. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But we got a lot of information about Rui and Berg's connection. I didn't think Berg had a note. I thought Berg was able to give other people notes, kind of like
JJ.
JJ's ability to do it as well. I
I
didn't think they
th-
had an actual note before. It was a little confusing too. I don't know if they
he
did had or
showed
not.
something off in the moment to Joe that made like he like was like, "Oh
Oh,
no, he has one of those," and so he transformed and
maybe.
immediately started to fight. But
You're right. That was probably it. I was thinking of the point where
just
they do a
quick
flashback.
moment.
I was thinking of when they do a flashback of,
They do a
them giving
flashback of
Berg giving
Berg with
Rui
Rui. Yeah,
just pulling the soul out,
just how
making it up.
JJ did with Hajime. Like, yeah,
We haven't talked about JJ.
we haven't.
What the fuck is going up with that? And what is he? What is he? It's a tall he's supposed to be the Zordon character, but he's having the
I
Gatchaman kill the mess, but in poem, in haiku style, not really saying things, releasing these little birds, these little paper birds. Like, what do you think's going on there, man?
like you said, at first it gives the Super Sentai where it's like, there's some master person who's, giving us the orders because they can detect the disturbances in the force, whatever it is. But it like the instructions he gives are cryptic. The things that he's doing, yeah, he's like doing these little origami birds and like letting them off.
But he
Um,
was wrong. The mess aren't bad.
but
Well,
did he ever say the mess is bad, or did he
mm,
give them a haiku
mm.
that they interpreted that
But
it meant that the mess are bad?
but Paimon was like, "Don't ever take what JJ says, for granted," or something like that, where they're like, "You have to go by what they say."
Yeah,
And Hajime is the only one that's like, "Why? Who is this? Who is it?"
that's exactly.
She walks right up to him, nothing happens.
Paimon also made a comment in a previous episode that they've like saved several planets in the past before, so it gives you a sense that they've probably been working with JJ for a while. So yeah, there's a lot of unknowns in there that make you question, like, is Paimon their leader or is JJ the leader? Like,
They call Paimon the leader, and
like
I'm like,
exactly.
"Hmm."
So I do want to say I love the little bit with Hajime just kind of like walking down all the platforms from her like little top spot. There's a bunch of spots for like a bunch of different people, but only 5 of them get summoned.
And they all have different
And
numbers
they all
when
have
they get
different numbers
summoned.
and Hajime's 101. Um
And there was
which
100 Galaxers with power.
um
Hmm.
I love how she walks down from her 101 platform. Almost it gives like it gives like in the if at the UN, somebody in like the one of the very, very, very back, because like at the UN it's by how much power each nation has or whatever.
Yeah.
That's how they get their seats. Somebody from the very back seat just walking all the way up to the front and just kind of sitting like right next to the person that's speaking or whatever, and like playing with their mustache
Yeah.
or like giving
Pretty
them a wet
much.
willy. How she just walks
Yeah.
over the void, over this bottomless pit
Yeah.
that nobody else has
So
probably tried to do before.
exactly.
Just pop a squat right next to him and check out his origami. Like that really pulled her character together for
Yeah,
me.
for sure. I love this so far. I honestly, if I wasn't doing this for the podcast, I would have binged it. I've binged a lot of 12 episode shows like this where it's just like boom, 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 super easy, super quick. Um, and it's gonna be something wild.
Mhm.
Something's gonna happen. I feel it. Somebody's working for somebody that we haven't seen yet. I don't know. Give me like one prediction before we because we're running out of time here in the hour,
Oh yeah.
but like give me one prediction that you think is going to happen that's like might be a little shady.
I I anticipate that that's something to do with that something with Paimon and just the whole situation with what messes are in general. I feel like there's something there that's not being completely revealed, and
Mhm.
I think Smudge said it earlier. Paimon's always the like putting down Hajime's like creative and
Mm.
inquisitive nature, and maybe that's something that's
Could
not
be
trying
something
to
there.
be overplayed because there's ulterior
Mm.
motives at play. Because that is something where it's like, dude, just just being yourself.
For sure. I think they're gonna do something super cliche where Berg Katz, the red-haired person, was like the first like this was the
The first
first,
Gatchaman.
yeah, the first Gatchaman, and it just kind of went wrong. And now they're like now JJ's in that sort of space because he messed up and he gave it to the wrong person. And it's like, oh, like I gave this note power to or I gave this person too much power or
Yeah.
something like that. I think there's a connection between JJ and Berg
What
that
if Berg is like, well, we've seen that they can give their own notes out to other people.
mhm.
So what if Berg has their own like squad of people that they're ready to call on?
Well, I
I don't
kind
know.
of I kind of dismiss that because it seems like Berg wants to do it themselves and wants to just go out and cause
Why are they
mischief and it
why'd they give Rui a note?
oh, well, yeah, you're right. Well, I don't know. Yeah, why
They're
did they give Rui a note? They didn't really explain it.
yeah,
Hmm, that
let
doesn't make
alone
any sense.
this social media app pact,
Yeah,
whatever
what
it
is this
is.
about? How come this thing has so much power? How long did it take for Galax to get like this hold on
Yeah, how long
society?
has it been around? Has it been around for, like, a couple months, or is it like,
If it was a couple months, then it was like, "Oh shit, like this
yeah.
has blown up." But if
And
it's been around,
that's what where I said by the end of the track of episodes, like my opinion kind of changed is because it started to like feel like a plot out of Black Clover, like you said, not Black Clover, Black
Black
Mirror.
Mirror,
Yes, Black Mirror, like you said before, with the whole technology being so closely integrated into people's lives, but like where do the boundaries start and end on all that? Like all those types of questions. Like I love having that stuff in my brain and stewing.
love that. Love all the yeah, it instantly reminded of like the Black Mirror episode where
The social
they're
credit
like
one.
judge the social credit there it is with the stars and how many social credits you have. But before we go, I just want to get one it's the start of this new whole thing, the start of Gotchaman Crowds, but so far for 1 through 4 episode, who is your favorite character so far?
Hajime just has so many lines that just make me smile. And that
Aw,
just she's just my favorite character. Just because like it's a very enjoyable watch to show. It's a very enjoyable show to watch.
enjoyable watch to show.
Just given her interactions with all the different characters.
Yeah, I love her. She's great. We didn't even talk about Jusan's fucking Gotchaman change. All the Gotchamen look great. They all look dope. But I think my favorite character so far is Rui. I really enjoy this person, gender ambiguous, wig wearing, cutie here, and it's just like, wow, there's something there.
I l
What?
I loved I can't remember which one it was in, but one of the scenes Rui's in, they, like, walk into the room, they sit on the couch, and they do a total man
Oh,
spread
this. Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
their legs, and then they lean forward and cross their legs, and I was like, "Ah!"
yeah.
Like, I
I thought
just
you were
thought
gonna
that was
mention the part where they're like, "I'm hungry," and they just like pour food. They just drop
that
food all over the
too,
face.
dude, oh
Yeah,
my god.
uh,
They're such a great character as
I
well.
love Rui. I think Rui is my favorite so far. Um, Apparently they're super smart. I want to see. I'm curious. I really hope so. I want to see what Rui's Gotchaman form is. I'm hoping there's a Rui Gatchaman change over, but this has been the Jules Matt Anime Hour. Gatchaman Crowds, episode 1 through 4. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, but subscribe on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you're watching it over there. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Thank you all so much. And if you want to join in on the live chat Thursdays at 11 a.m. Central Time, wherever that is, just follow on Twitch and all that stuff. But we would love for you to watch along with us. That's part of the fun, is you watching the anime with us, going episode by episode, and we're all watching anime together so we can get more people on the train of watching new anime, because this is new to me and Matt. We have not seen this. This is the first time watching. That's why we want to get some predictions. What are your predictions? We can talk about it in the Discord if you want, or you can just like message us and stuff like that. But Matt, where are you on the internet when you're not on the Jules and Matt Anime Hour?
I'm on social medias at it's Matt underscore Galley and on Twitch at Matt underscore Galley.
Wow. I'm Jules the Human, JULES the Human, on all social media, on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. And this was fun. Uh I'm excited.
Yeah, this was a good batch of episodes. I had a lot of thoughts to talk about here, and as always, not enough time to talk about all of
Oh yeah, for
it.
sure. So next week, if you want to start watching with us, 5 through 8, episode 5, 6, 7, and 8 of Gatchaman Crowds. It's the first season of Gatchaman Crowds. You can watch it on Crunchyroll or wherever you get your anime, I think. And yeah, next Thursday we're going to be discussing episode of 5 through 8, Gatchaman Crowds. If you haven't seen the first 4 episodes, what are you doing? Catch up and then join the conversation with us next Thursday. And yeah, we'll see you
Till next time.